Guys, it is time to review what we have learned so far here in Chapter 2. So we're going to start by solving systems of equations, and we can do all of that using our graphing calculator. So here we've got a 2x2 system. So I'm going to go into Matrix and go over to Edit, Matrix 1 to a 2x2. And my matrix is going to be 12, 7, 9, negative 21. So those are our x and y coefficients. And the reason I can do this is if I turn this into two matrices, an x and a y there, so I've turned this side into two matrices. If I multiply these matrices, I get 12x plus 7y as my top row, and I get 9x minus 21y as my bottom row. So I'm basically just unmultiplying these matrices to build that matrix. And the other matrix is 15.5 and negative 9. So I'm going to go into Edit Matrix B and make that 15.5. And, nope, I made that 15 by 1. That is definitely not what I want. So that's got to be 2 by 1. And then 15.5. And negative 9. And then I'm going to quit to get to my home screen. And then I'll bring up matrix 1. So second matrix, then 1 to get matrix A. Now, if I want to solve this, I've got to get this matrix over here. It's going to fit in right there, actually. But it has to be the inverse, like multiplying by our reciprocal. So we'll call this matrix A and B. I've got to get matrix A inverse. When I bring it to the other side, it becomes the inverse times matrix B. So matrix A inverse times matrix B. Okay, so I get those decimals. I'm going to go math, enter, enter, and get fractions. So 5/6 and 11/14 are my x and y values. Okay, now we've got a 3 by 3, so I'm going to go back to matrix and edit the first matrix to a 3 by 3. So I've got 4, negative 3, 2, 24, 2, negative 4, and 16, negative 7, and negative 14. And then go back to matrix, edit matrix 2 to a 3 by 1. And I've got negative 179, 258, and negative 77. Okay, so I quit matrices. I'm back to the home screen. Matrix 1 inverse times matrix 2. Okay, I've got a decimal there, and I can call that 7/2 if I want. What it is, it's an exact value, so 3.5 is fine. 53, negative 17 are my x, y, and z values. So this one I could put in 7/2, and I can get that easily by doing math, enter, enter. It gives me that fraction. Okay, my third one, these are pretty nasty equations right here, but with the calculator, they will not be a problem. So matrix, edit matrix 1, we're going to keep it as a 3 by 3. 85, 5, negative 27. 34 over 5. 15 over 16. And negative 3/2. And then the bottom row, negative 119, negative 45, and 11. over to edit matrix number 2 to the 3 by 1, so we'll keep it as it is. So 131 over 3, 59 over 16, and negative 55. And I'll quit matrices to get to the home screen. Second matrix 1 inverse. Oops. I gotta clear that out. Matrix 1 inverse times matrix 2. Okay, and I get some decimals again, so math, enter, enter. So I've got 15/17 for my x value. My y value is negative 13/15, and my z value is 1. And the next one is missing some variables, but it still has x, y, and z. So I need to make sure to include all 3. So when I start my matrices, I am using a 3 by 3 for matrix 1. I've got 2 for the x's, negative 1 for the y's, and I don't have a z, so 0 z's. And then 0 x's, 7 y's, and 2 z's. And then 5 x's, negative 2 z, so 0 y, and negative 2 z. Over to matrix 2, so we're going to edit matrix 2. And this is going to stay 3 by 1. So 99, 1495, and 1099. And then I'll quit. Second matrix 1 inverse. Hit that wrong button again. Second matrix 2. Okay, so we get an x value of 173. Y value of 247. Z value negative 117. Okay, then some functions or some operations with matrices. And I'm just going to plug all 4 of those matrices into my calculator as well. So this will be the longest part of this process. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 3. We'll just put all the dimensions over these: 2 by 3, 2 by 3, and 3 by 1. So our first matrix that we're going to edit is going to be a 7 by 3. Especially with these bigger matrices, it's important to double check and make sure that you're typing in everything correctly. All right, so my biggest matrix is in. So I'll go back to matrix, edit matrix B to a 2 by 3, 2, negative 1, 4, and negative 4, 9, 5. Then I'll go back to matrix and edit matrix C. So option 3 to a 2 by 3, 2, 0, negative 3, and 0, 3, 5. And then we'll edit fourth matrix, matrix D, to a 3 by 1, 4, 2, 8. Okay, and now I will quit, get back to my home screen, and just start typing these things in as they appear. So I'll open parentheses, 3 times matrix B, second matrix 2, minus matrix C, second matrix 3, close parentheses, times matrix 4, second matrix 4 for D. Okay, so I get a matrix like this, 130, 80. A times D. So second matrix A, second matrix 4 gives me A times D. Okay, so I have 40, 44.4. If you want to put these in fractions, you can, but it's not necessary because these are exact numbers. There's no rounding. 32, negative 34, 58.4, 36.4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But A and D, inner dimensions match, which tell me it can be done, but those outer dimensions tell me it's got to be 7 by 1. And so far, I've only got 6 by 1. But you notice right here, there's a little arrow. That tells me if I key down 1, I'm going to get that last element, 45.6. Okay, then C minus D. Matrix 3 minus matrix 4. And it says dimension mismatch. That makes sense. C minus D, that can't be done because C and D, they have to have completely the same dimensions, and they don't, so this is not possible. And then D times A, second matrix 4, second matrix 1. Also a dimension mismatch, which makes sense because if I was to turn these around, I've got a 3 by 1 times a 7 by 3, and for multiplication those inner dimensions have to match, and they don't. This one is also not possible.